Okay. Well, I just kind of wanted to share real quickly, just take some time to really express to everyone the importance of value and value in themselves and taking it outwards to their teams. Because what happens is you want everyone to be able to distinguish the difference between who they are as a leader and as an individual versus everybody else that's on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, or even their own mutual friends and family. So I think if we talk about value and everybody understanding who they are as a leader and what's going to set them apart from everybody else and why someone would want to join their team or pick them as their leader versus someone else who has the exact same post, I really think this is going to set us apart from other companies and even just other individuals out there in general. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I think, I see a lot of people posting their products or, stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I enjoy getting up and getting on Facebook and seeing like people posting about their shake or whatever. What I see other people that will show that value. They'll, like, for instance, they'll give you tips on what, how to on help helping people achieve their goals. So when people are adding like tips, it's almost like you have more of a following that way. And it's not just about, hey, buy my shake. It's more about, what can I use in my shake, and what are my strategies? Are you 3 days on, 1 day off? I think, isn't that right? Like 3 days on, 1 day off, that you kind of trick your metabolism. So that's a tip, right?
Right.
That's a strategy. So I think when people bring value to, and it doesn't always have to be about just the Nourish Shake, but just value in general. Like you want to start like boot camps and stuff like that. That's value because you're helping people get healthy no matter what, and you're drawing people towards you. So you're branding yourself basically.
Correct. But see, and a lot of it too, Tim, is I want people to realize that, are they just providing a product or are they providing a reason to go with it for people to join them? Because if you see one post versus the next with shakes and then you see someone else that has shakes, why would someone choose you versus somebody else when you have the exact same post? So you want to be unique in your postings, realizing that it's not just specific about the Nourish Shake, but what benefits can you go above and beyond what everybody else is doing that's going to set you apart? And just like I have some specific notes here that I wanted to, bring across everybody is when you're posting on Facebook, people do not want to just, post for a week or two. This is something they need to do consistently, pretty much do it forever. So they
Yes.
know that you're a resource for this, that you're just not in it as a phase or a new trend, but this is who you are as a leader.
Yes.
Right, so I
Yes.
feel like that in itself is important. People need to feel too that it's about them. So when you're actually making any type of posts or you're talking to, you need to make a post as if you're talking to that individual specifically and that you're trying to meet their goals and needs and that you have something that's going to solve that problem. I
Yes.
think that's important too.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at all the things that it's going to take to get healthy. Like right now, like even Julie, she posted this weekend the meal prep. She talked about the meal prep. She shot a photo of all the items that we needed for meal prep. You can take that a step further and show people how to make these items. So you're showing that value. You're actually helping people understand what meal prep is and how to package it and how to cook with it and what to use and to avoid all the things that aren't going to be healthy for you. And I think you start to create that value. So there's so many ways. The other thing is, as I got the Google Plus account, Kenny Miller mentioned, there's a blog. It's called Blogspot. You can actually get. So instead of actually just posting on Facebook, create the blog on some of these helpful tips that you can give people. Create the blog in Google Plus on Blogspot. Create your own blog, and then it will take you to Facebook. So now you're creating more value because you're actually providing people with information now that's useful to them, and that's how you're going to really be able to draw people towards you to create your brand. Because really, what we're doing is we're not LifeStart's an amazing company, but we're not just branding LifeStart. We're branding ourselves. So
Right.
Crystal, you're branding yourself. You're branding Crystal, and you bring so much value that people want to know what you're doing. and how to do it, and that's how you create that value.
Right, and I think it's important for all of us to remember as leaders, we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're comfortable, you're not growing. Literally you're dying because, you're not challenging yourself. And whether it's, expanding your horizons, whether it's using YouTube, Google Hangouts, being able to push yourself to grow past what you felt your limits are, that in turn is going to raise your lid, and it's going to cause other people to be attracted to you as a leader. Many people say, oh, I want to earn a six-figure income with this company. Well, what are you doing, that makes you as an attractive six-figure leader?
Yes.
Because people are attracted to like people. And it doesn't mean that we necessarily know it all, but what are you doing every single day to add value to who you are?
Yes.
Whether it's learning about health and nutrition, whether it's learning about meal prep, whether it's learning about exercise, whether it's learning about leadership material and really growing your personal development time, that's huge and really, really important as well.
Yes. No, I get it. I get it. And, I wake up every morning to some personal development, and it really sets the tone for the day. I don't like listening to the radio. I don't, I pray, then I listen to personal growth. I don't care if it's even a YouTube video, because it's so powerful. But then I want to share that information. So when you're talking about, getting outside your comfort zone, even doing this Google Hangout, this is the first one we're doing for the team and for, Team Life Changers. And, is it perfect? No, we still don't know what we're doing, but guess what? You just got to do it. And we're going to learn from this. And we're going to invite more people on this. And we're going to have, more people get out of their comfort zone, start learning new things, and eventually we're going to grow, and we're teaching all at the same time. So you got to take the leap. You got to take the leap.
Right, and I think it doesn't matter what someone's background is. Everyone needs to realize they actually occupy some type of value to the world. Your value system may be completely different than mine, and so on and so forth. But realizing that there's people that only they could touch, that only they have a chance to influence, and running with that. They need to make sure that their expectations at the same time match their expertise. I'll repeat that. They want to make sure that their expectations match their expertise. Meaning, if they're wanting to bring someone in, like I said earlier, that's an influencer, that's already a six-figure income earner, well, does your expertise align with that type of individual? If it doesn't, you really want to reflect on yourself and saying, what do I need to do to grow to the next level? How can I make myself stand out amongst everybody else? That they're saying, I'm choosing to go with Tim Baca, I'm choosing to go with Crystal Sandoval, based on who they are as a leader within their community. That we're choosing to get outside of our own four walls, that realizing that our influence is bigger than just Albuquerque, and we want to go out and really impact our community, our state, our country, our whole world. But we only do that if you and I are growing.
Exactly.
If we're learning, if we're getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And those are the steps you need to take, because people can get complacent, and they can think, well, everybody's doing their thing and everybody's actually working their business. And I'm like going, no, I think you got to lead by example. I always say that. Like, I need to show more people that I'm out there doing this, and I need to show people that we're taking other steps to grow. And when I look at even LifeStart, we're on the ground floor, but you can't just think, well, everybody's going to join you. There's going to be other teams. There's going to be other leaders that come in that aren't on your team, and you don't want to get surpassed. Me, I don't want to get surpassed, because I want to grow as fast as we can, because we are very small right now, but it's going to grow with or without us. And so for us to really get out there, we got to create the value. Like, in other words, we need to show people that we know how to use our back office. We know how to use technology. We know how to use strategy when we're building our teams. We have great advice on how to do parties and how to reach outside your warm market, and how to teach your warm market, how to, get those pouches out there and get them sold. Because, like I said, this is a whole different animal. We're in a retail environment now, so we need to figure out ways to be creative. Like I said, you got to think of all opportunities. Like I said last night in the call, if anybody was on the call, I said, we have unlimited possibilities with how to promote this product. It's not just the party, but you want to have those. You want to duplicate yourself. At the same time, you want to, you want to put this in retail environments. But like I said, getting back to creating value, I want everybody to see this from you and and I have other leaders on these hangouts, because I want people to know that we care about helping other people, because that's the beauty of this business. That's why I'm involved in this business. I love helping people. I'm a very humble guy. I want people to succeed. And if I can show people that we're here for them, we're going to draw more people to us. But we have to develop ourselves. We have to learn and be experts at the comp plan. We have to be experts at the back office. We have to be experts at technology. And if we do that, people will follow.
Right, and I think it's important too that as leaders, people take the initiative to learn. So instead of automatically always going to your upline or your sideline or whoever it may be for the answer, is look at what you can do to figure it out for yourself. Because you in turn, if you are not developing who you are in product info, for example, how do you expect others to do the same?
Exactly.
It's really just figuring out, because is that for everybody? No. But there's those few people that say, you know what, I know that I'm called to something bigger and greater, and I want to make a huge impact in the world, but they don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Because they look at the big picture and it just blows their mind because it's something that's really big. But when we start to just break it down and we take out piece by piece and say, okay, it starts here, in me knowing who I am and how I'm going to grow as an individual, I can't put expectations on my family, on my kids, on my team if I'm not willing to do the same. And I think that the saying that people need to go away with today, Tim, is be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
No, I love that, and I've even struggled with that. Like I know I'm good at things, and I'm not good at certain things. So I try to avoid those things I'm not good at. Even getting in front of people, I can talk one-on-one all day. But you get me in a group, I start overthinking it. I get uncomfortable, but I'm willing to do it because I gotta get over that. I gotta overcome that fear. And that's just been who I've been. It's like I can talk all day, and I'm good at that. But I'm also, I get that fear sometimes, and I'm overcoming that a little at a time, because I'm getting out there more. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree, and I think that's all of us. That there's no perfect individual that excels in every bit of this business. But I think as long as we're willing to grow and learn and realizing the value of who we are, and that's where it comes to be, it's important to who you surround yourself with. That you have people in your inner circle that are there to build you up, encourage you, sometimes tell you things that you may not want to hear, but they're telling you you need to hear it, and because they truly care for you. We've all heard the saying, the top 5 people who you hang around with, you tend to become like them. So I encourage people to really even focus on who's in your inner circle. Look about who you're actually getting influence from, who's leading you. And if you can't take something positive from that, then it's time to change that and find people who can bring you in, who are going to challenge you, who are going to encourage and motivate you and take you out of your comfort zone.
You're right. Because there's been times in our lives that even Julie and I, we've eliminated negative people that were bringing us down, and then it just changed everything. It was just that, it kind of changed the dynamic of everything, because unfortunately, we had to eliminate those people because they were being negative. You would talk to them and everything was everything was negative, and it affects what you do. Like I said, I wake up in the morning. After I pray, then I listen to something positive, I think positive, and I just avoid all the negativity. That's just me. Now, am I going to always avoid that? No, I'm not. But if I can just focus on, positive and just, do the best I can, I have a better day. Just like now, I'm having a great day so far. This is awesome that we got our first hangout going, I'm excited to do a lot of these.
Yeah, same here, Tim. And I think, as we wrap this one up now, I think it's going to be exciting to be able to look back to, our first moment doing this, and as we start to do numerous ones and have other people join us,
Yes.
and just to really see, not only our personal growth, but our team's growth as well, and just knowing possibilities are endless. So let's do this.
That's great. That's great. Hey, I got an idea for our next hangout. I want to do a hangout on basically never prejudging anybody. And the reason I bring that up is because I'll share this on the next hangout, but I think I've always been successful taking things away. Not so much taking it away, but the way you approach people. And we were talking about this earlier. I like the term, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know that's looking to lose 10 pounds? Who do you know that would like to start their own, business? Or who do you know that wants to make extra money? I've always been good at that because I love the fact that I don't, hit people, and approach them the wrong way or put any pressure on anybody. So on the next hangout, I want to go and talk a little bit about that, and maybe we'll bring on a couple more people on the next one. But I want to kind of touch on that on our next hangout, and we'll elaborate more on that.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, thanks, Crystal. I appreciate that. Thanks for taking the time.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.